Hi there again, good morning again from the UK. Okay, let's put a little bit of light on the subject. 3, 2, 1, beam me up, Scotty. Now we're on to part 3, okay? So now that I've given all that information, okay, I just would like to go back to, let's have a look. So I'd like to go back to Dolores Cannon, which is in the first part, okay, part 1. And it's don't go towards the light. Now then, you know, whoever worded the video, okay, you know, they worded the video, Dolores Cannon, don't go towards the light, okay? Now, the way it comes out on there, if you choose to have a look on YouTube, that's entirely up to you, okay? It's not really the wording that's, you know, the way it's been put. Do you see what I mean? And the reason why, and I'm going to explain this now, and I keep apologising for the light, even though it's super bright in my room, okay? But I'm not going to purchase any other lights, and I've even got me love sign on. Do you understand what I mean? Because we need to bring love into the world, do we not, okay? So what Dolores is actually talking about is that she sort of heard many reports, you know, she's a medium, okay? Well, she was a medium, God rest her beautiful dear soul. God rest your beautiful dear soul, dear Dolores, right? That, you know, that when, say, man and woman had like a, what we call a near-death experience, okay? Which means, well, it could be anything. It could be an accident, you know, whether it's in a car, I don't know. It could be anywhere, really. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I do not mean that disrespectfully. Please, dear God, Jesus Christ, Nazareth. I didn't mean it that way, okay? But that many have reported, okay, if you was to listen to the YouTube video, it's not very long, that, you know, a lot of them say that they go, you know, it's like they can see a light, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something now. My dad, some years ago, right, he said, well, as it turns out, I just need to let you know something, okay, because I've never really, well, I haven't said this before, but on my dad's side of the family, yes, right, on my dad's side of the family, because my dad's a psychic as well, which he is, okay, and I'll just give you one example. This is just one example, okay. He went into a supermarket, what year was it now? 2015, 2016. I think it was 2016, actually. And he stood in Sainsbury's, you know, Sainsbury's in the UK. So he went, you know, and he stood in, you know, in the queue waiting to get, you know, what he wanted to get. And something just said to him, and my dad's not a gambler. He's not a gambler at all. And neither was my dear Nana. I mean, God rest her beautiful dear soul. Good morning, my beautiful dear Nana and Grandad. I love you, right? Now then, neither was my dear Nana. My dear Nana used to always say, you know, she used to say, you know, just keep your pound in your purse. Do you see what I mean? That's the way my dear Nana used to rock and roll, you know what I mean? My dear Grandad, I mean, God love them both. But he was the opposite, you know what I mean? Like, he'd spend, like, you couldn't, my dear Nana used to always say, you know, she could never walk past a jeweller's, like a jewellery shop or anything like that, and say she liked something because he'd go in and buy it for her. Do you know what I mean? It's just so romantic, you know, they've been, you know, together, married years and years and years and years. Oh, I just think anything like that, so sweet and romantic anyway, yes, okay? But the fact of the matter is, so my dad was stood there, let's get back to the matter in hand. So my dad was just stood there, okay? Now, I mean, you know, he's not short on a few pounds, shilling and pence, dollars and change. Do you get me? Right? And something just said to him, you know, because he was obviously waiting to get something, you know, just same as everybody else is waiting to get something. And something said to him, look at number 6, you know, like 6 on the scratch cards and everything, right? And my dad's not a gambler, not at all. So he said it was so strong. It was so strong. So when he gets, you know, he got to the till, sorry. And what he was meant to be getting, because he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke either, right? And he just said, could I have a number 6, please? It's not something that he'd never normally do. Well, he got a number 6 and guess what? Won 250 quid. £250. Just like that. See what I mean? And that's not the first time. He's had other things that's happened. But like, he never does the lottery. He never does anything. Like, he's got a little boat that he bought some years ago. You know, he bought this little boat, right? Now, the first 2 owners, right, it's only a little boat. It's not expensive, but of course it costs a lot to do it up. But he is a carpenter, but it does cost a lot to do it up. And he does have 2 sailors' licenses, you know, to be able to sail, right? But the thing is that I said to him, I said, oh, see, I'm going off on one now, but I'm trying to explain something. I said, you know what, Dad? I said, I really do not feel, you know, that you should have bought that boat. Because you see, the first one who bought the boat, the first gentleman, God rest his beautiful dear soul, we do not know him, well, he passed away, didn't he? On the flipping boat, had a flipping heart attack, right? The second one who purchased the boat, well, he had the same, flipping passed away on a flipping boat. Ooh. Do you know what I mean? So I said to my dear Dad, I says, you know what, I says, you should never have flipping bought that boat, you know. Well, anyway, he's still here. Do you get what I mean? But I do not always see that as a good omen. Do you get what I mean? It's like what they always say about boats is that you should never change your name. So whatever that name is on that boat, you should never change it, because if you change your name, you're flipping doomed. Do you understand what I mean? Right? So that's what I wanted to say about the boats. Anyway, as it so happens, sorry, he's still here. Do you understand what I mean? But I flipping tell you what, it costs a flipping pretty penny. Like, you can only do the windows, you know, the windows on boats. I mean, it's a flipping expensive game, you know, because to do the windows, you can only do it a certain time of the year. And he said to me, he says, you know what, Mia, because he's Broad Yorkshire. So he says, you know what, Mia? And he is very broad, so when he speaks, he's very Broad Yorkshire, right? Now, he said, for like a tin, like this small, like this, right? And it's like a glue that you know, to glue the windows and everything, which you can only do at a certain time of the year. And this is on any boat, right? A little tiny bit like that, 400 quid, £400. He said it's like liquid gold. That's what he said. He said it's like liquid gold. That's what he said, you know. See, obviously, you've got to use it very sparingly. Do you know what I mean? But then he can put in all of the cupboards, put everything in there. It's not like, shall we say, like in the UK, I mean, I'm not sure about, I mean, I'm sure that they do them in other countries, but it's called a longboat, right? It's called a longboat, right? Now, if I had my way, right, which at some point I may very well do, right, I would love to buy one of those boats. Right, because you can do them up, and I tell you, you could do all sorts. You know, you could have you know, man or woman, or you know, man and man, or woman and woman. You know, whatever it is. You know, couples and stuff, and they can come and spend a night, right? And you kit it all out where it's flipping banging, and guess what? You can make a flipping pretty penny out of it. Do you see what I mean? It just costs the initial just to get it. Do you know what I mean? But then you do not have to pay the bills what you have to pay. You know, you can just, you know, with your little boat, float along. Do you get what I mean? You can just park up, you know, or if you want to go to a coin op or something, you can usually pull in, you know, like a marina or somewhere like that, you know, and, you know, coin up meaning a laundrette, right? And go and do your washing and things like that. Do you understand what I mean? Or I suppose on your boat, you know, once it's all done up, there's the flipping beautiful ones. If you look on YouTube, you'll see yourself the flipping longboats, they're flipping beautiful, you know, in the way that they're kitted inside. Oh, flipping fabulous. Banging, banging, banging. Do you know what I mean? But it does cost a pretty penny. Because even if you buy a second-hand one, and I look well back into this years back, right? You have to lift it out of the water, so you have to have a specialised to lift it out of the water. Then it has to be turned upside down, and you have to have it all redone. Do you see what I mean? So there's no holes, no nothing. And then, of course, it has to all dry off and everything, and you have to have it sort of... you know, sort of drop back into the water, if you know what I mean. And then you have to have everything else done, you know what I mean? So, as I always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know what I mean? So you've got carpenters, you've got all different well, that's going to save you a fair bit of pounds, shilling, pence, dollars and change. Anyway, I've just sort of gone off on one actually, and I flipping forgot what I was talking about now. Right, I'm going to cut it off again. I'm going to start again because I can't remember what I was saying now. Anyway, so much love. Until the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.